Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen amma ba'd fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Today you are going to learn lesson number 21. Lesson number 21, waqf, pause. Let's see the rules first. Number 1, waqf. The meaning of waqf is to pause, to stop. That is, at whichever word waqf is to be done, end the voice as well as the breath on the last letter of that particular word. That means, waqf means to stop. When you need to do waqf, you have to stop the sound and you have to end your breath. And when you read the next word, you will take a new breath and then you will read the next word. Let me show you the example. For example, open the next page, look at the first line, first box. The word is sadiqina. So you can see a circle sign on this word. So you have to do waqf here. So when you read this word with waqf, so you will read sadiqeen, and then you will break your breath and you will end your voice, you will finish your breath. And when you read the next word, you will take a new breath, and with the new breath you will read the next word. Next rule. If a zabar, zir, pesh, tu zir or tu pesh, khada zir or ulta pesh comes on the last letter of the word, then make that last letter sakin when doing waqf. That means when you have to do waqf, you will make the last letter sakin if the last letter has these things on it. If the last letter has zabar on it, if the last letter has zir below it, if the last letter has tu pesh on it, tu zir below it, or khada zir below it, or ulta pesh on it. So in all of these cases you have to change these things with jazm. For example, open the next page, look at the first line, first box. You can see the word is sadiqina. The last letter of this word is noon, and noon has zabar on it. So when you read this word with waqf, you will change this zabar with jazm, and you will make this noon sakin. You will make the last letter sakin. You will read sadiqeen. You will not read sadiqina when you do waqf. Without waqf, it is sadiqina. It's normal. But when you read it with waqf, when you have to break your breath, when you have to take the new breath after that, then you will do this thing. Look at the fourth box in the same line. The word is fihi. You can see the last letter of this word is ha, and ha has zir below it. So you will change this zir with jazm in the case of waqf. You will read fi. You will not read fihi in waqf. You will change zir with jazm. Open the next page. Look at the first word, nasta'inu. The last letter of this word is noon, and noon has pesh on it. So you have to change this pesh with jazm in the case of waqf. Look at the fourth box in the same line. You can see the last letter of this word is ra, and ra has two zir below it. So you have to change two zir with jazm in the case of waqf. Look at the first box in the next line. In line 2, the word is lahwun. The letter waw is the last letter of this word, and it has two pesh on it. So you have to change two pesh with jazm in the case of waqf. Look at the fourth box in the same line. The last letter is ha, and ha has khada zir below it. So you have to change khada zir with jazm in the case of waqf. Look at the first box in third line. You can see the last letter ha has ulta pesh on it. So you have to change ulta pesh with jazm in the case of waqf. Let's see the next rule now. If tu zabar comes on the last letter of the word, then pronounce it as an alif when doing waqf. That means if the last letter of the word has two zabar on it, so you have to change two zabar with alif. You will not change two zabar with jazm, but you will change two zabar with alif. Let's see the example. Please open the next page, page number 45, and look at the fourth box in line 3. The word is al-fa-fan. You can see the last letter of this word is fa, and fa has two zabar on it. So when you read it with waqf, you will change two zabar with alif, and you will read as al-fa-fa in the case of waqf. Next rule. If the last letter of the word is a round ta, then no matter which haraka it has on it, pronounce it as a ha sakin when doing waqf. That means if the last letter of the word is a round ta, so you have to change round ta with ha sakin. Whether the round ta has two zabar on it, it has two pesh on it, it has two zair below it, it has zabar on it, ulta pesh, anything, you have to change it with ha sakin. For example, open the next page, page number 45, and look at the first word in fourth line. The word is quwwatan. You can see the last letter of this word is round ta, and it has two zabar on it. So you have to change this round ta with ha sakin in the case of waqf, and you will read this word as quwwah in waqf. Next rule. When doing waqf, khada zabar, the letters of madda in sakin letter are not changed. That means if the last letter is a madda letter, you will not change it. If the last letter is sakin, you will not change it. If the last letter has khada zabar on it, you will not change khada zabar with anything. You will read as it is, even in the case of waqf. For example, open page number 45, look at the fourth box in line 4. The word is watawalla. You can see the last letter of this word is lam, and lam has khada zabar on it, so you don't have to change this khada zabar. You will read as it is even in the case of waqf. It is watawalla, so in the waqf it is watawalla. There is no change. Look at the first box in line 5. The word is one har. The last letter of this word is ra, and ra has jazm on it. Ra is already sakin, so you don't have to change this word. You will remain as it is. Look at the fourth box in the same line. The word is fiha. The last letter is alif madda, so you don't have to change alif madda. Look at the second last box and last box. There is waw madda in the second last box, and there is a ya madda at the end of that word, so you don't have to change waw madda and ya madda in the case of waqf. You will read in the case of waqf and without waqf in the same way. You will not change anything. Next rule. In the case of waqf on a mushaddad letter, the tashdid will remain, but the harka will not be made apparent in the recitation. That means if the last letter of the word is mushaddad, if the last letter has tashdid on it, so you have to remove the harakat, you have to remove zabar, zair or pesh from it, but you will not remove the tashdid. For example, open the next page, look at the last box, last word in first line. The last word is bil haqqi. You can see the last letter of this word is qaf, and qaf has tashdid on it and zair below it. So when you read it with waqf, you will remove the zair, but you will not remove the tashdid, and you will read it like that, bil haqqi. In the case of waqf, bil haqq, bil haqq. Okay, you will maintain the emphasis, you will maintain the stress. As you know, you learned in lesson number 13 that when a qalqala letter is mushaddad, so you have to read with emphasis, you have to read with stress. So when you read this word in the case of waqf, so you will maintain the stress, you will only remove the zir from it. Next rule. When a hamza wasli comes after tanween, the hamza wasli is dropped in the case of wasl without pausing, and the noon sakin of tanween is given a zir and a small noon is shown with it. This noon is called noon qutni. Please open the next page, page number 45. Look at the second last line. The word is khayra nil wasiyatu. You can see a small noon is written below alif in the next word. There are two words. First one is khayra and the second one is nil wasiyatu, and you can see a small noon is written in the next word below alif. This noon is noon qutni. This noon is written in the Holy Quran as it is written here in this word. So whenever you see this noon in the Holy Quran, so you should understand that this noon is noon qutni. Next rule. Signs of waqf, pause. Some of the signs of waqf are described below. A. 0. This is the sign of waqf tam and indicates the completion of a Quranic ayah. One should pause here. When you see this sign in the Holy Quran, so you have to pause at it, because this sign, the 0 sign, is the sign of the completion of ayah. When an ayah completes, so this sign is written, 0 sign is written. Next. B. Mim. This is the sign of waqf lazim. One must pause here. So sometimes there is a small meme written as a sign of waqf in the Holy Quran. So when you see a small meme as a sign of waqf, so you must pause there. Next. Ta. This is the sign of waqf mutlaq. It is better to pause here. Sometimes you see a small ta as a sign of waqf. So when you see a small ta in the Holy Quran, so it is better for you to pause here to do waqf here. Next. Jim. This is the sign of waqf jaiz. It is better to pause here, but it is also permissible to carry on. So sometimes a small jim is written as a sign of waqf in the Holy Quran. So when you see a small jim, it is better to pause here, it is better to do waqf here, but you can also carry on. You can also read without doing waqf. It is permissible for you. Next. Za. This is the sign of waqf mujawwaz. It is permissible to pause here, but it is better to avoid pause at it. So sometimes you see a small za as a sign of waqf in the Holy Quran. So when you see this sign, it is permissible to pause here, it is allowed to pause here, but it is better to avoid pause at it. It is better to read without doing waqf. It is better to read without pausing when you see a small za sign in the Holy Quran. Next. Sad. This is the sign of waqf murakhas. One should not pause here. Sometimes you see a small sad as a sign of waqf in the Holy Quran, so you don't have to pause, you don't have to do waqf when you see a small sad. Next. Lam alif. If the lam alif sign is present above the sign of an ayah, that is lam alif, there is a difference of opinion whether to pause or not. If a lam alif comes without the sign of ayah, then do not pause. So when you see a small lam alif sign in the middle of the ayah, there is no circle sign, there's just lam alif sign, so you should not pause there. And when you see lam alif sign on the top of the circle, on the top of the zero sign at the end of the ayah, so there is a difference of opinion. Some scholars say that you should pause here, and some say that you should not pause. Next rule, i'ada, repetition. After doing work, pausing, reciting while joining the preceding text is called i'ada. So when you read the Holy Quran, you apply this rule. But in the Madani Qaida, you cannot apply this rule. But in the Holy Quran, you can apply this rule. Sometimes you have to, and you need to break your breath in the middle of the ayah where there is no sign of waqf. So if you want to do waqf, if you want to take the fresh breath in the middle of the ayah, then you apply the rule of i'ada. What is that? That is, you stop, you do waqf where you want to take the fresh breath, and after that you take the fresh breath and you read the last word again and you join it with the next words. Okay, let's start reading from line 1. I teach you line 1 and you have to read the other lines by yourself. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Sadiqina, आगे वक्फ, सादिकीन, नादिमीन, आगे वक्फ, नादिमीन, मुस्तकीम, आगे वक्फ, मुस्तकीम, फीही, आगे वक्फ, फीह, शफतैनी, आगे वक्फ, शफतैन, बिलहक़्क़ि, आगे वक्फ, बिलहक़्क़. I said आगे वक्फ in all of these words, but it's not necessary to say आगे वक्फ. You can directly read the first word and the second word, both words, without saying आगे वक्फ. But I said आगे वक्फ just to make you understand that now you are going to read in the case of waqf. Sallu ala al-Habib, sallallahu ala Muhammad.